watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Gloria, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's World News headlines, Israel spied on Iran talks and shared info with U.S. lawmakers. An Afghan president to request longer stay for U.S. troops. And talks on Yemen's political crisis to be held in Qatar. And 148 feared dead after plane crash in southern France. Tea Party favorite Senator Ted Cruz launches presidential bid. And Supreme Court refuses challenges to Wisconsin voter ID law, and justices appear to support Texas ban on Confederate license plates. And Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy says incarceration system is broken. An Arizona woman who spent 22 years on death row sees charges dismissed. And Utah governor signs law to allow firing squads for executions. In DOJ probe, 80% of Philadelphia police shooting victims were black. And police find lack of evidence in UVA gang rape case. And in Japan, Okinawa governor orders halt to construction of U.S. base. And judge praises Seneca Lake gas storage protesters and drops charges. Naomi Klein and David Sirota win Izzy Award for achievement in independent media. GVTV News is broadcast on Grass Valley Television, the division of Rural Counties Television Network, whose focus is on community involvement. We also air on NCTV. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us. GVTV News. In today's first World News story, a new report accuses Israel of spying on nuclear talks between Iran and the United States and other world powers. According to the Wall Street Journal, White House learned of the spying last year, shortly after the negotiations opened. Citing unnamed U.S. officials, the Journal said the White House was not upset by the spying as much as it was by Israel's decision to share inside information from the talks with U.S. lawmakers as part of a campaign to derail the talks. Israel has denied the allegations, which comes as the Obama administration is already criticizing Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for his pre-election vow to block a Palestinian state. On Monday, White House Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough reaffirmed the U.S. commitment to the two-state solution and said, "In the end, we know that what a peace agreement should look like. Borders of Israel and an independent Palestine should be based on the 67 lines, mutually agreed swaps. Each state needs secure and recognized borders, and they must be robust provisions that safeguard Israel's security. An occupation that has lasted for almost 50 years must end." Netanyahu has tried to walk back his disavowal of the two-state solution. On Monday, he also sought to walk back his election day warning Arab voters were flocking to the polls in droves. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, I can't talk today. So I know that these things I said a few days ago offended Israel Arabs. I have no intention of this to happen. I regret this. My actions as Prime Minister, including the great investment in the minority sectors, prove the total opposite. Equally, I think it's forbidden any foreign body will intervene in the process of our democracy. Unquote. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani is expected to request a longer tenure of the U.S. troops in Afghanistan. During White House meeting with President Obama, Obama has vowed to remove half of the 10,000 troops currently in Afghanistan in the coming months and all but 1,000 by the end of the term in early 2017. But recent reports say the administration is poised to reverse that pledge. The United States is also pledging to continue funding Afghan security forces at a peak level of 352,000 personnel at a cost of billions of dollars per year. Talks come as gunmen in eastern Afghanistan attacked vehicles on a highway, killing 13 people, as protests have erupted over the mob killing of a woman in the capital of Kabul. United Nations says it will broker talks at Qatar aimed at preventing Yemen from dissolving into a full-scale civil war. The country appears on the brink of collapse amid fierce clashes between Shiite Houthi rebels and military units loyal to the President Abu Rabu Mansour Hadi. Saudi Arabia, meanwhile, vowed to take necessary measures against the Houthis if the deal is not reached. Passenger plane operated by Lufthansa's German Wings airline has crashed in southern France. Nearly 150 people on board. The Airbus 320 was flying from Barcelona to Dusseldorf when it went down in the French Alps. French President François Hollande said that there are likely no survivors. And Texas Republican Senator and Tea Party favorite Ted Cruz has announced his candidacy for president. In a speech in Liberty University, Cruz rolled out an agenda which includes reversing Obamacare, militarizing the U.S.-Mexico border, rolling back abortion rights and same-sex marriage, and strengthening support for Israel. He said, "I believe in you. I believe in the powers of the millions of courageous conservatives rising up to reignite the promise of America. That is why today I am announcing that I'm running for president of the United States instead of a president who boycotts Prime Minister Netanyahu. Imagine a president who stands unapologetically with the nation of Israel." American Civil Liberties Union has filed an emergency motion to block Wisconsin's voter ID law after the U.S. Supreme Court rejected an appeal and left the law in place. Measure threatens to disenfranchise an estimated 300,000 people who lack adequate identification. Lower court judge had noted that only one documented case of voter fraud in Wisconsin over the period of 8 years. Critics say the law signed by Wisconsin Republican Governor Scott Walker and others like it nationwide seek to block votes by the poor and people of color who tend to vote Democrat. Law will not be in effect for April's elections. U.S. Supreme Court appeared to side with the state of Texas over its rejection of a license plate bearing the Confederate flag. An attorney for the group Texas Sons of the Confederate Veterans argued any type of hate speech should be allowed on license plates under the First Amendment, but the justice appeared to reject that idea. And U.S. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy has criticized the system of mass incarceration in the United States, saying it relies too heavily on solitary confinement and is broken. Kennedy, seen as the most moderate voice in the court and often as key swing vote, made the comments before a House panel. And he said, "We had a case come before our court a few weeks ago. The prisoner had been in an isolation cell, according to attorney. I haven't checked it out, for 25 years. Solitary confinement literally drives men mad. Even Dr. Manette said his workbench and his cobbler's tools in Tower 105 North, and even he lost his mind. And we simply have to look at the system as we have. We haven't nearly get enough study, nearly enough thought, nearly enough investigative resources to looking at our correction systems. In many respects, I think it's broken." Arizona woman who's spent 22 years in death row has seen murder charges against her dismissed. Deborah Jean Michael, I think it's Milk, has been convicted of recruiting 2 male friends to kill her 4-year-old son in a case that rested heavily on now discredited detectives' claims. Michael had confessed and had been out on bond since her convictions thrown out in 2013. On Monday, a judge ordered her electronic monitoring anklet removed. Utah has become the only state to allow firing squads for executions. Governor Gary Herbert signed the new measure allowing the state to use firing squad if lethal injection drugs are not available. Drugs have been difficult to obtain because European manufacturers refuse to sell them to the U.S. executions. A new Justice Department report criticized Philadelphia Police Department over inadequate training and secrecy surrounding shootings. The probe requested by Police Commissioner Charles Ramsey found police in Philadelphia fired at people about once a week on an average of in recent years. In some of those years, Philadelphia saw more police shootings than New York City, a municipality with 5 times the number of residents and officers. 80% of the shooting victims were African American. The report comes just days after prosecutors said they would not press charges against officers who fatally shot Brandon Tate Brown, an African American they say reached for a gun during a traffic stop. His family disputes the police account. And police in Charlottesville, Virginia, say an investigation into an alleged gang rape at a fraternity reported by Rolling Stones magazine has failed to uncover evidence of a crime. Charlottesville Police Chief Timothy Longo said the outcome doesn't mean that something terrible didn't happen to the victim, Jackie. Rolling Stone has acknowledged discrepancies in details described by Jackie, who did not participate in the police investigation. When the article came out, UVA was already under federal investigation for its handling of sexual assault, along with a growing list which now includes more than 90 other schools. And in Japan, the governor of Okinawa has ordered a halt in construction of a new U.S. military base there. Kishi Anaga was elected last year on a platform of stopping the base. He has been given Japanese Defense Ministry a week to stop construction following the discovery of massive concrete blocks dropped into the sea as part of a project that damaged coral reefs. Japanese government has vowed to press ahead with construction, setting up a possible legal battle. Okinawa houses about 26,000 U.S. troops. Their presence has been the subject of protests for decades. In upstate New York, a judge has dismissed charges against 42 protesters arrested for civil disobedience against plans by the firm Crestwood Midstream to expand gas storage in the caverns of Seneca Lake. According to the group We Are Seneca Lake, Judge Raymond Berry dismissed the charges in the interest of justice and commended the protesters, saying, "I'm very proud of you. You had a cause and you fought for it for the best of your ability." Another 100 protesters arrested as part of the campaign will also see their charges dismissed. And author Naomi Klein and investigative journalist David Serrata have jointly won the 7th Annual Izzy Award presented by Park Center for the Independent Media and named the legendary dissident journalist I.F. Stone. Judges praised Klein's groundbreaking book titled This Changes Everything, Capitalism versus the Climate. Serrata expose on corruption in the pension system. Jeff Cohen, director of the Park Center and the Independent Media, said the statement, Naomi Klein and David Serrata are the journalistic heirs of I.F. Stone. And from Wall Street to big oil and gas, and giving voice to the victims of predatory capitalism. And that's it for World News today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. That's right, it's time for the police blotter, and pictures in the blotter not from these actual events but used for visual aid only. These public records are obtained from daily logs issued from Nevada County law enforcement. Grass Valley Police Department on Sunday, 9:23 a.m. A caller from Neal and South Church Street reported a man trying to open car doors in the public lot. 11:05 a.m. Caller from 1200 block of Sutton Way reported a man urinating at the bus stop. 11:48 a.m. A caller from 300 block of Pleasant Street reported two teens smoking marijuana in a vehicle refusing to leave the area. 2 p.m. A caller from 300 block of Hazel Lane reported drug activity. 2:11 p.m. Caller from 1100 block of Sutton Way reported 2 people loitering and smoking marijuana. And 2:56 p.m. a caller from Condon Park reported a person killed 2 turkeys. Person was located. 1 turkey was killed in a lawful hunt in the preserve area, and a decoy in the vehicle was also visible. At 3:26 p.m. a caller from 300 block of East Main Street reported a teen with bruising around his neck after his father tried to choke him. At 8:18 p.m. caller from East Main Street and Hughes Road reported a man pushing a screaming woman into a house. At 10:10 p.m. a caller from 100 block of Bank Street reported finding marijuana in the trash. Monday, 2:59 a.m. a woman from 200 block of Sutton Way reported a boy was on drugs and throwing things at her. He was cited on suspicion of battery. Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Sunday, 8:35 a.m. a caller from Conifer Drive reported hearing 20 to 25 gunshots. At 10:48 a.m. a caller from 17,000 block of Norleen Way reported a stolen vehicle. And 12:28 p.m. a caller from Highway 49 and Golden Chain Court reported a small vegetation fire. 1:18 p.m. a caller from 13,000 block of Sailor Flat Road reported promiscuous shooting. 3:15 p.m. a caller from Gaudier Drive reported a man threatening to beat people up. He was arrested on suspicion of making criminal threats and resisting arrest. At 3:36 p.m. a caller from 11,000 block of Northview Drive reported ongoing trespassing. At 3:45 p.m. a caller from Del Bonita Way and Oak Canyon Drive reported people in a truck having sexual relations. They were gone when a deputy arrived. 4:38 p.m. a caller from Highway 20 and South Ponderosa Way requested extra patrols for trespassers. At 4:48 p.m. a caller from 10,000 block of Wolf Road reported theft of a wallet. At 7:21 p.m. a woman from Gracie and Banner Lamacap Roads reported vehicle burglary with her credit card being used at a gas station. At 9:04 p.m. a woman from Brack Place reported an assault. It was mutual combat. At 9:40 p.m. caller from Rainbow Road reported a man threatened to kill a woman. He said she tried to strangle him. Person was cited on unknown charges. 11:51 p.m. a caller from Rosewood Road reported gunshots. Nevada City Police Department on Friday, 11:26 a.m. a man from 400 block of Broad Street reported he was bitten by a dog. At 4:56 p.m. a caller from 300 block of Sacramento Street reported finding a baggie of white substance. At 8:35 p.m. a caller from 200 block of Commercial Street reported 2 men in a physical fight with one of them throwing glasses. Another caller reported 3 people involved. No one was located. 9:20 p.m. a woman from 600 block of Nevada Street reported a man tried to hit her and take her money from her. At 10:04 p.m. a caller from 300 block of Sacramento Street reported a man came into a business, opened a chapstick, used it, and then put it back. He could not be located. At 11:44 p.m. a caller from 300 block of Sacramento Street reported a person took a bunch of beers and fled. Saturday, 1:30 a.m., caller from 300 block of Sacramento Street reported a shoplifter. And Sunday, 9:06 a.m., a caller from 300 block of Spring Street reported theft of a camera. At 12:21 p.m., a woman reported she lost $6.5 million from a record company that bought a song from her but have the wrong address for her. 3:48 p.m., a man from 300 block of Adams Street reported his favorite little squirrel was possibly sick or rabid. And that's it for the blotter today. Now, none thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's local news headlines, Grass Valley man arrested in connection with theft of 2 cars. And Grass Valley firm seeks help recovering stolen items. A Grass Valley man with a lengthy criminal history in Nevada County was arrested Sunday in connection with a burglary in Alta Sierra and a theft of 2 cars. Nevada County Sheriff's deputies were dispatched to a residence a little before 9 a.m. after landscapers discovered someone had forced entry to the house, said Lieutenant Bill Smethers. Multiple items were stolen from the residence, including 2012 Audi and a 2013 Nissan Altima, Smethers said. At about 6:30 p.m., Grass Valley police officers located the stolen Audi at 300 block of Hazel Lane, were able to tie it to a residence in 300 block of North Church Street. A deputy located the suspect, identified as Joshua David Packard, 33, on foot at Highway 49 Coyote Street at about 11 p.m., but released him at the scene. But 10 minutes later, a caller reported a suspicious vehicle parked on Coyote Street just above the fire station near the transient camp. Deputy who responded found the missing Altima, and a witness identified Packard as the driver who had left the scene. He was located again and arrested on suspicion of second-degree burglary, vehicle theft, and possessing stolen property. He's being held in lieu of $50,000 bail. According to Smethers, second suspect and the other property stolen is still being sought. Packard has 11 felony cases dating back to 2000. He was arrested in 2007 for evading Grass Valley police officers in a high-speed car chase through residential neighborhoods. When he was arrested, he reportedly was found with a loaded semi-automatic pistol, a loaded magazine for the pistol, and a 5-inch folding knife. That same year, he was charged by a federal grand jury with being a felon in possession of firearm and had previously felon convictions for grand theft, forged checks, possession of a controlled substance, and evading a peace officer. Most recently, he was arrested in February after he reportedly stole a vehicle and an assortment of items from the site of a multi-agency raid on Purdon Road. Owner of the property had been arrested. His son subsequently called 911 to report that Packard had stolen his father's pickup as well as a number of items, including an air rifle, metal detector, paintball guns, a chainsaw, surveillance camera system, and assorted gemstones. He was charged with vehicle theft and first-degree burglary, set to return to Nevada County Superior Court to enter a plea on Thursday. Grass Valley, a company that has or was the victim of a recent theft, is looking for help in locating some of the stolen items, 7 pieces of custom-made and highly specialized geological surveying equipment. Colby James Hicks, 23, was arrested in the commercial burglary which was discovered March 16th after the employee of Geologic Associates on the 100 block of Spring Hill Drive discovered a hole cut into the roof of a trailer. Burglar had taken 3 toolboxes full of tools, as well as geological surveying equipment with estimated value of $30,000. On March 17th, an employee of a store in Grass Valley contacted the police regarding items from the burglary, told officers Hicks had tried to sell hand tools and an optic rifle scope. Hicks then reportedly tried to sell the rifle scope the next day to a hunting goods store on Maltman Drive. Hicks reportedly denied any connection in Spring Hill Drive burglary, but the prints of the boots he was wearing allegedly matched those left at the scene. He was arrested on suspicion of second-degree burglary, grand theft, and vandalism, being held in lieu of $50,000 bail. He is set to enter plea in Nevada County Superior Court on Thursday. And the surveying equipment has no resale value due to its specialized nature, said Field Manager Eric Allhofer in a plea to public for the information leading to the return of the stolen goods. They are only valuable to people in this industry, and the companies that do this work have been informed of the theft of the meters. Parted out, they have very little value. According to Allhofer, the loss of the equipment has been a big hit to the company since they must scramble to find alternatives to the specially made boxes. Geologic very much wants the equipment returned and would be grateful if it was just returned or dumped somewhere. We were told of its location, he said. We would appreciate the public's help in getting them back. Allhofer said these are 3 clear-faced boxes about 5 inches wide to 7 inches long, 4 inches deep, and 4 yellow boxes like Pelican waterproof boxes with electronics in them, missing as well as a power source box containing 6 9-volt batteries. Anyone with information on the missing items can contact Allhofer at 530-272-2448 by email or olhoffer@go-logic.com or contact Grass Valley Police Department 477-4600.